Welcome back, everybody, to the live webinar here at BINA. As we stand 17 days away from the festival of Shavuos, which commemorates the time when God gave us the Torah, we will start a special webinar series dedicated to preparing ourselves for this most special festival. The first thing one needs to understand is that Shavuos and what happened on Shavuos, which is the giving of the Ten Commandments, which really included within itself the entire Torah, wasn't something that happened 3,329 years ago. Rather, it happens again every single year on Shavuos. When we read the Ten Commandments in Shul, it is at that moment that God gives us the Torah once again and gives it to every single Jew, man, woman, and child. It is that for that reason that in many places it is greatly encouraged that everybody should try be in shul at the time of reading the Ten Commandments. Not only adults, but even children and even babies. Because the giving of the Torah didn't differentiate between age. It was to every single Jew, no matter what age, again, man, woman, and child. So we need to prepare for that. We need to prepare for this unbelievable occasion that God will give us the Torah once again. How do we prepare? Well, a good place to start would be to look at how the Jewish people prepared thousands of years ago for the first time around when God gave us the Torah on Mount Sinai. In the Talmud, in Tractate Shabbos, Masechta Shabbos, it tells us how Moshe Rabbeinu prepared the Jewish people day after day, how they prepared for the giving of the Torah. They arrived at Mount Sinai on the first day of the month of Sivan. The Torah was given, according to one opinion, on the 6th of Sivan, according to another opinion, on the 7th of Sivan. But it was a whole process of preparation, how the Jewish people prepared for the giving of the Torah. And the Talmud goes into detail, describes what happened on each particular day. So throughout each webinar, we'll go through each day and we'll discuss how what happened on each day is not only what happened then, but is something that we can learn from and is relevant to us as we prepare ourselves for the giving of the Torah. Perhaps the most strange out of all the days of preparation for the giving of the Torah is actually the first day, when they arrived on the first day of Sivan by the mountain. What happened then? Absolutely nothing. The Talmud tells us, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't tell them anything, he didn't command them anything, he didn't help them prepare in any way. Why? Because they were weak, they were tired from all their travelings. They had just traveled from Egypt all the way to Mount Sinai, and they were tired, they needed some rest, and therefore Moshe Rabbeinu waited a day, seemingly, if you learn this superficially, waited a day to start the preparation for the giving of the Torah. There are a number of things puzzling about this. First of all, we know that the Jewish people were incredibly excited for the giving of the Torah. One of the reasons given why we count 49 days of Sfiras HaOmer, from the second day of Pesach, from the second night of Pesach, till Shavuos, is because the Jewish people, with great anticipation, when they left Egypt, they were so excited to receive the Torah, they counted every single day in anticipation for the receiving of the Torah. They were excited. Now, when someone's excited about something, generally speaking, as you get closer and closer, the excitement builds. When someone is excited about something, being tired because of a journey or anything else, usually doesn't really affect you so much. You're excited, you're passionate about it. Okay, so I'm tired. You're excited anyway. The tiredness is not as much felt. So how then the Jewish people are counting the Omer for 49 days? They finally arrive at Mount Sinai. They see in front of themselves the mountain upon which God will appear himself in front of the Jewish people. How then did Moshe Rabbeinu decide to push off the start of the preparation because the Jewish people were tired? Sounds a little bit strange. And number two, What's also strange is that actually from where they were coming from wasn't even such a long way. They were coming from Refidim, that was the stop before Mount Sinai, and it's not such a great journey, so why were they even tired to begin with? The explanation is as follows. This day, the first day of Sivan, that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't tell them anything, that itself was actually a part of the preparation and actually the first step of the preparation. In other words, the very foundation of their preparation for the giving of the Torah. How so? So we first need to explain in brief what exactly happened at the giving of the Torah. What was so unique? We know there was lightning and thunder and God's voice spoke and it was a dramatic event. But what actually happened? Because we know that the Jewish people kept the Torah before the Torah was given. We know that Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, our forefathers, kept the entire Torah, even it says mitzvahs that were given to us later by the sages. So what exactly changed by the giving of the Torah? What changed by the giving of the Torah is that until then, we kept the Torah based upon what we understood. We used our own intellect to learn Torah. Torah was really an intellectual exercise that we did on our own. By the giving of the Torah, God gave us the Torah. As we say every single day when we make the blessings over the Torah, V'nosan lanu es Torah soy, He gave us His Torah. What changed by the giving of the Torah is that Torah ceased to be just an academic exercise, but became actually a godly thing. Within the intellect of the Torah, within the wisdom of the Torah, lies God Himself. So to speak, God put Himself in the Torah. He wrote Himself in the Torah. That's what changed in the giving of the Torah. That's the foundation of our learning Torah now. What we need to know now is that when we sit down to learn, number one is that it's not a regular academic exercise. It's not a regular wisdom. It's not a man-made wisdom. It's godliness, which transcends our intellect, which is higher than ourselves, which actually negates who we are, which totally is beyond anything that we can really connect to. The only way we could connect to it is because God put Himself in the Torah. That's step number one. Step number two is actually to learn it, because God put Himself into what? Into the wisdom of the Torah. So that's step number two. But step number one is actually to know that it's not only wisdom. It's way beyond wisdom. It's way beyond intellect. It's way beyond any of our human limitations. Therefore, when they came to Mount Sinai, the first step of the preparation was not for Moshe to teach them something, not for Moshe Rabbeinu to explain to them something or to inspire them intellectually about the giving of the Torah. Rather, he didn't tell them anything because they were weak, meaning weak not in a bad way, weak in a good way. Meaning their egos were weak. They negated themselves. They put themselves on the side for a day. They said, this is not about us anymore. It's not about me understanding something in its foundation. Rather, it's about me giving myself over to someone higher, to God. Unlike a regular wisdom or a regular intellectual exercise where I need to be present, I need to think how I understand it, the foundation of Torah is putting that self on the side and giving oneself over to the Noisein HaTorah, to the giver of the Torah. And that's what it means that they were weak, meaning their egos, their sense of self was weakened. Like Omar Midi, he didn't tell them anything, meaning it was a day where they laid the very foundation for receiving the Torah. And they said Torah is actually in its foundation not intellect, it's actually godliness. That's step number one. And this is also connected to something that the Torah describes what happened when it came to the first day. It says, Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Hahar. And the Jewish people camped by the mountain. And the way the Torah describes it is Vayichan, and he camped, not Vayachanu, and they camped. Why does it use a singular expression, not plural? That is because, as our sages tell us, at that very moment they were ki ish echad b'leiv echad. They were like one man with one heart. They were absolutely united in everything. That is very connected to what we've been explaining till now. Where do differences within the Jewish people start? When you come to the wisdom of the Torah, to the intellect of the Torah. How much do I understand and how much do you understand? You might understand more and I might understand less. But when it comes to how much do we connect to God through the Torah, there we're all equal. As long as we learn the Torah, the godliness within the Torah is something which transcends our differences. It's something which transcends how much I or you understand. It's my connection to God through the Torah, which is equal by every single Jew. And therefore, specifically on that day, where they experience this giving themselves over to God, not so much how much they understand, that is when they all became united, that is when they all became equal. However, obviously, this is only step number one. Obviously, Torah is a wisdom. Obviously, Torah is about learning Torah and understanding Torah. And that is the following days of preparation, as we will discuss, to prepare the Jew after they put themselves on the side. Then, now they have to work on themselves to actually prepare themselves for the giving of the Torah, to prepare their intellect, to prepare their character, etc., etc. But the foundation is actually to put themselves on the side and realize that Torah and its very foundation, its very basis, is not intellect. It's something which totally transcends them. It's about giving themselves over to God. Once they've done that, then they can move on to step number two and prepare themselves for the learning of the Torah and the studying of the Torah, which we will discuss in the following days. Have a great day.